Okay, so here is a quick little rundown, something for you to watch and take a look. So I shot a house today, and I'm going to do a little folder for you and show you a couple of things. This is Lightroom. I'm importing them into Lightroom so I can do my edits. And there's another program called Infuse it's only like $10. It's pretty cheap, but so I have these shots, and I have these little presets over here that'll do a little correcting, lens profile, all that stuff. So I'll do one like in this little batch. You could do it like if they were just individuals, you could see them change down here. But if they're all outside shots without much changing, I might just do like all the outsides and sync them. That way it applies the same settings to each picture. And then in the inside, so in the inside I do one picture where I use that handheld flash, and then I'll do, without a flash, I'll do a bracket where it's a regular, a dark, and a bright exposure, no flash at all. And do the same thing here, flash shot, exposure, under, over. That's all settings in the camera that you can set up yourself. The only thing you got to be careful of when you're doing that first flash shot and there's a ceiling fan in the room, a lot of times you can see you'll get a shadow back here, and there's a way you can minimize that so it doesn't show up so much later on. You don't want those big shadows showing up in your pictures. You can see this one a little bit here, but I got a way that you just you minimize that. So anyway, so that's pretty much kind of a quick rundown on those. So what I'll do is, once you get these first, everything synced, you highlight one, press shift, press the other, right click, and you group them into a stack. And I can explain what all this means later. I'm just showing you how kind of quick and easy the editing process is, and just kind of the technique I use. You want to make sure your tripod is level. That one I sent you has a bubble level on it. You can correct stuff later in post-processing, but you want all your vertical lines to be straight up and down and all your horizontal lines to be straight across. So your vertical, and you want to keep it like that. With the wide angle lens, you'll see some distortion here. It kind of looks like it's bowed out a little bit, but actually didn't use those. I'm gonna get rid of those. Okay, so oops. So let's go back here. I don't use all the shots. I'll do my little preset inside. You see how it corrected that? Just kind of did a little lens correction. So a shot like this, I'll do one, maybe get the dark window and get the ambient one and stack those. I don't always use all of the pictures. Sorry, let me do this again. I'm going to do my inside preset, and I'm going to go to the back of this album, highlight them all, and sync it. Wait for those all to finish up. I'm not going to use all of them, but that just makes my workflow a little bit faster. I'll show you why. Syncing all those together. Now I'm going to run through as if I were just doing it without trying to show you. step by step. So this is almost synced. Okay, there you go. So I would just grab some of these, stack it here. There's no windows, no real highs and lows, so I'm just going to grab 2 of those pictures. Same thing here. Actually, since there's a window, I'm going to grab the 3. If it's just not much contrast in the room, I don't need a bunch of different exposures. Just kind of need there's 2, a flash frame and an ambient frame. Ambient means no flash. Okay, now that there's a window, I want to have a little detail in there, so that's why I grabbed 3 of them in that case. Same thing here, I'm just going to grab 2. There's no window. Bathroom, I didn't use a flash at all, so I'm going to do a little autocorrect on the pictures, and when you do that and you don't use flash, a lot of times you get like a lot of blue. So I'll drag that blue slider down just a little bit, copy and paste these settings, and I'll stack all those. This I didn't really like this shot, but I used it anyway, so I'm just going to auto correct it. Take the blues down, group it. Not the greatest room, but whatever. It's part of the house and they want the pictures. Okay, there's no window, so I'm just going to do 2. Okay, little fireplace. There's my flash frame. Try not to, you want to make it to where it lights up, but it doesn't blow all your details out. So I might do, just not use the dark one since there's no window. Okay, living room, kitchen. I might do the 3 because there's a window here. You're not going to get a lot of detail out of that anyway, but I'm going to use it. There's a ways where you can make that window really pop, but I'm not doing it for this house. Okay, I'm not using this one right now. Okay. Kitchen shot, so I got one here, I did a flash here. On the next one I did a flash over on the left side here to light up the hallway. So I'm going to use this one. I'm going to get this one where I lit up the hallway, and then I'll probably do the regular frame and then the highlights. Whoops. Group all those into a stack. Same thing here, maybe the mid and the high. I don't really need the darks. Here you go, we got this one. I'm going to grab this dark with the window and a highlight, but I think I might go through. I think I blew that out a little bit too much. So I'm just going to drop maybe the highlights down and use that. It's a learning process to do this, but it, you know, it's just practice. Once you get the hang of it, I mean, it's all pretty much the same. I'm going to use all of these because there's just a lot of darks. I need darks. There's a lot of contrast here. Whoops, where'd I go? Yep. There's, you know, windows I want to try to get in. I need to get this hallway down here lit up pretty well, so I'm going to use all of those. Living room shot. Let's grab those. And this closet, I'm just going to do one flash, one ambient. Group into stack. So really I would maybe just go, I'm going to just go delete the pictures that I'm not using, just to make it, I wouldn't always do it, it just kind of makes things easier sometimes to select everything. And I know I haven't stacked them because there's a 2 here, 3 here, 2 here. That shows you which ones have been stacked and which ones haven't. So we get rid of those. Okay. So that could have been a little bit quicker if I wasn't explaining some of it, but shows you everything, highlight them, and plug in extra, and we're going to blend them with Infuse. This is the program that I purchased. It's really cheap. And then I got this one for you. Whoops. I need to create a folder real quick. Okay, so for Chris, in here I normally do a little folder that says Infuse. That's kind of the destination folder you create. So go back in here, plug in, choose my folder. And run it. There's an auto align, but if you're on a tripod, I really don't use it, and it's much faster. So they're going to start processing. Looks like we got 32 pictures processing. So they're probably going to take 10 minutes maybe. So this is kind of when I get done shooting a house, and I like to come home and do this real quick, like do all those batch, stack them like that, do the edits and stack each picture, and then let this run for a while, and then I can, go hang out with the kids, eat dinner, go do something else, but at least get this part of it done first, because the next part of it is fairly easy, a little bit quicker than doing all those clicks and stacking everything together. So it's 6:06 now. I'm going to stop talking and let this run through, and we'll go from there. Actually, before I do turn that off, I'm going to show you something real quick. We're going to go back to some of these inside shots. So let's just say here. Oh man, let's get over to Photoshop. Alright, never mind. Let's close that out. We're going to go in here. I'm going to go to a different album. Okay, this was that one from today that I already edited and sent out to a client. So you could, I'm going to unstack this. I already shot this house. This is kind of what we just went through. I just made duplicates. So this is a flash frame. Now you could do it to where your flash was too strong and you blew out the details, and you can see over here that it was too bright. That means over here, if it's off the chart here, that means you lost detail and lost pixels. Same thing in reverse. If you didn't do it high enough, you got off the charts here and you lost details in some of the pixels. So you kind of want a nice little range. What I like to try to do on my flash shots a lot of times, let's see if I can find a better one. Like this shot here, this was a flash shot. You can see the shadow back here, which you don't really want, but I kind of like to expose for the windows sometimes, like you can see it in the camera, and do a flash pop that will light up the rest of the room, and that gives you a lot of true colors versus just shooting like an ambient frame and you get a lot of shadows and just junk in there. Your camera can't pick it up like you do here. So this one I edited totally different, but you can see the shadow and the fan like what I was telling you about. You just got to be careful, but I got rid of that and edited this one totally different, and this was my finished product with this, which I had the windows look real nice. You can see a little bit of it back there, but not a ton. But you could, one thing you just got to be careful of is, again, you could have your flash too strong and blow out detail, and you obviously don't want that because your picture's going to look like crap. So that's some of the stuff that's going to be, where we would have to sit down and like shoot your house multiple times in multiple rooms so you can get comfortable just shooting it. So anyway, I'm going to let this run, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's on its 13th picture already. I think I was exporting like 30-ish pictures, so I'm gonna let this run, then we'll come back and do the rest of it. Okay, so it is 6:15, 6:16. That was 10 minutes basically to do 32 pictures. So, I mean, you can literally go and shoot 3-4 houses, do that batch edit real quick and process them, and have 3 houses done in half an hour, at least that first round. So what we're going to do now, go back in. You don't have to import these. I don't know why. It just, since it's the plugin, it already knows it's there. So here's the stacked image. Not the best looking sky, but we're not going to worry about that right now. So I have presets that I use sometimes, like my after preset. Sometimes I just will run through and see what they look like, maybe pick one. And every scene's going to be a little bit different. So what you're looking for is this to be kind of like an even across the board. You got some spikes up here, but that's because the highs and the lows contrast in the sky. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to go through, do that first picture, highlight the rest of the outside pictures, and sync it. And then I'm just going to run through and see what they look like. Some of them might need to be dropped down a little bit, might be too bright. It's too bright. Just going to drop it down a little bit. Maybe increase the colors on some. Try to keep it looking real instead of a fake picture. Okay. Now it would take you longer to do this because you haven't done it before, but so anyway, here's the inside. Looks a little flat the way it processed it, so I have these little presets after here, and sometimes you can see like there's some red magentas. I don't know why it does that sometimes, but sometimes you just gotta fix a little bit of this, get rid of that red. And that red usually is because these lights, these yellow lights, they give off a magenta look to them. I hate it. There's a way to make it. I'm going to reset this. I don't really like that. Okay, so I'm going to drop these orange and yellows down a little bit because nobody really likes the overly yellow and orange. Do the clarity a little bit, okay, and then I'm going to copy those settings over to all of the insides. Okay, you see them gearing up. So what I'll do now, I'm going to drop these highlights down, get a little more detail in those windows, sync them again. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run through and make sure they're bright enough, or not too bright. If they need to be lit up a little bit, I'll increase them. Those look pretty good. I see some green over here in the closet, so I'm going to get rid of that in the aqua. It's just light coming in from outside, bouncing off the trees and the grass. You can see it again here. Sometimes it's just weird shadows will create that. This one is the one that had no flash, so I'm going to brighten that one up. Okay, weird greens out there, I'm going to get rid of those. Brighten this one up a little bit. This one didn't have flash either. Get rid of some of those. I don't really like that shot, but oh well. When it's real dark on the inside and you have like one small little window, you're not going to get much detail out of here anyway. There's a way you can make the windows really pop and see the outside, but I do that for some houses, not for all of them. Brighten that up a little bit. I'm going to drop a little of the oranges down. Get some contrast in there. Okay. I'm going to go through here in a minute and fix something else. This is just something you get faster with the more you do it. And the closet. So that's the last one. Okay, and the next one, what I like, after I'll go back to that first one, and down here there's a geometry tool. And you can fix, you can kind of do an auto align or verticals. So I'll go through, start fixing verticals. You can see where it made that. See, this is leaning to this way a little bit to the right, but these verticals will fix it most of the time. Sometimes you have to do it manually, and I'll show you one of those in a minute. Let's run through, get all my verticals straight. It's a really neat tool. You got to do this for every single picture. Okay, geometry tool. Sometimes when there's a lot of parts like this, I'll grab this little geometry tool here, and it gives you 4 lines. I like to do 2 horizontals and 2 horizontals, and then 1 or 2 verticals. One, kind of just, and that makes it perfect. Vertical. I'll do it again for the kitchen shots. Use that particular tool. So, geometry tool. Maybe grab here. Here's one, and then maybe grab these counters. You want to make sure that they're the same depth. There you go. See, that fixed it. Grab a vertical. Maybe grab this cabinet. Fixed it. Sometimes it does it good with auto. Kind of gets it pretty close. That's pretty much it, man. Just export them, you'd be good to go. I do have to fix, you can see tripod legs, and if you did right click, edit in Photoshop with all the Lightroom adjustments, I'll show you a neat little thing you'd have to learn. Because you end up in reflection sometimes, you gotta pay attention and try to minimize that as much as possible. As you can see, you got tripod legs. Sometimes it's, you're in it, but you can get like this little lasso tool, kind of draw a line around it. Right click, fill, content aware, and it fills it for you. Doesn't always do the greatest job, but a lot of times it does good enough to where you don't really see it in the picture anymore. So you can see the difference of that. that. You can see the tripod in and out. So anyway, that's pretty much it. I would just take these, whoops, and I would grab all of them, right click, export. When I normally do it, I'll do a print size at some settings, and then I'll do a FMLS size at some settings. So anyway, that's a quick little video how easy it is just to bust these out real quick. So we'll talk later.